Hi, welcome to a moment of pause. So I was having a conversation with someone and they invoked the term reverse racism. They asked me about reverse racism and how is it not racism when an individual who is a racial or ethnic minority, I'm completely paraphrasing, but when an individual who is a racial or ethnic minority doesn't like someone who is white. First of all, there's a whole lot of unpacking that can be done there, right? So if a person of color does not like someone who is white, that's an individual personal thing. It could be, although very rarely, that the person of color does not like the person because they are white. If they don't like the person because they are white, then that's related to stereotyping and prejudices. And prejudices are things that we all have, that we all fall victim to. Stereotyping is also something that we all tend to do because we live in a society that is rooted in very strong historical legacy of racism. So that person might be stereotyping, that person might be prejudiced. However, not liking someone who is white is not the definition of racism. It also made me think about rivers. So I started looking up whether or not rivers flow backwards. And what I found was that rivers flow downhill. In other words, rivers are related to the gravitational pull of the earth. Rivers don't flow uphill because rivers can't flow uphill. So if we live in a society in which there's a racial hierarchy that has been since 1492, right, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, I'm kind of being facetious here, but if our society is rooted in this historical legacy of the racial hierarchy that continues to exist, racism then, which by definition racism upholds or is an attempt to uphold the existing racial hierarchy, it flows in one direction. Now the reality is there are lots of things in that river, and I'm envisioning the Mississippi River, right? So there's a lot of things in the Mississippi River. There's fish, there's debris, there's ships and all sorts of things within. Just as there are all sorts of things within the existing racial hierarchy, racism being included in that, and just as there are existing things within our existing version of racism. However, when we think about reverse racism, that does not exist. Reverse racism is an attempt to absolve the society of doing anything different with the existing racial hierarchy. It absolves those who reap the benefits of racist policies, actions, and behaviors from doing anything. And so I hope that that was a good analogy. I'm going to continue to work through that analogy, and we'll probably include it in some future talks. But this has been today's moment of pause. Feel free to use that example and see what comes of it. Let me know. Come back and let me know how that example worked for you. All right? See you next time.